Good morning, students. Today we are going to start a new chapter. This is page number 34, and the name of the chapter is Landscape of the Soul. Nathalie Trouvray is the author of the chapter, and this is from your book Hornbill. This is a very interesting chapter, and in this chapter, the writer actually contrasts the European form of landscape painting with the Asian form of art. Means, on the one hand, he actually tries to tell us that what is the importance and what is the essence of Western art, and it is actually contrasted and it is compared with the Eastern form of art. And he also contrasts Chinese art with the European art by recounting two stories about Chinese art and one story about the European art. And he says the European wants a perfect likeness, whereas in Asia, means the Chinese art is the essence of life and spirit. So, according to him, Chinese art requires the active participation of the viewer, both physically and mentally, to understand it. I'm going to read it from page number 34, first paragraph. He says, a wonderful old tale is about the painter Woodhouse who lived in the 8th century. His last painting was a landscape commissioned by the Tang Emperor Zhongzong to, to decorate a palace wall. Now, this is very important. What is the meaning? Actually, he says, a wonderful old tale is told about the painter Woodhouse. Means this is a very beautiful tale. This is a very beautiful, wonderful story, and this is about the painter whose name was Woodhouse, who lived in the 8th century, and he actually lived in the 8th century, maybe 1200 years ago. His last painting was a landscape commissioned by the Tang Emperor Zhongzong. Means the last painting that was made and created by Woodhouse was actually a scenery. Landscape here means scenery. So it was a scenery which was commissioned. Commissioned means appointed. Means he was asked to make this painting by the Tang Emperor whose name was Zhongzong. Now, to decorate a palace wall, because he wanted to decorate, he wanted to put that, you can say, scenery, that landscape on the palace wall. The master had hidden his work behind a screen, so only the emperor would see it. Now, this is very important. When he actually made and painted that painting and that landscape or scenery, he put it behind a screen. Why? Because he actually wanted that nobody else should see that or should be able to enjoy that landscape or that scenery. So he put it behind a screen. So only emperor would see it. For a long while, the emperor admired the wonderful scene, discovering forests, high mountains, waterfalls, clouds floating in an immense sky, men on hilly paths, waterfalls, birds in flight. Now, it means that all these things were actually, you can say, made and created or painted on that scenery, and the emperor he was able to see all those things. Means he actually understood and he saw, he noticed wonderful scene, discovering forests, high mountains, waterfalls, clouds floating in an immense sky. All these things were noticed and admired by the emperor, by the king. Look, sir, said the painter, in this cave at the foot of the mountain dwells a spirit. And then the painter actually described his painting, and he said, and he asked the emperor to see that there was a cave also, and in this cave at the foot of the mountain dwells a spirit. He said that in that cave which was painted by him at the foot of the mountains, there dwells, what is the meaning of dwell? Lives. There lives a spirit. According to him, there was a spirit, there was a ghost. The painter clapped his hands and the entrance of the cave opened. And this is a really unique thing. This is really unusual that when the painter clapped his hands, the entrance got opened. The spirit is splendid beyond anything words can convey. Please let me show your majesty the way. Means he said, means the painter said that the inside of the cave was splendid. Splendid means it was wonderful. So it was beautiful cave from inside beyond anything words can convey. Means he could not really describe the things, the beauty that was there inside the cave. And he said, please let me show your majesty the way. Means the painter actually wanted to show the way, the road to the beauty of the cave. The painter entered the cave, but the entrance closed upon him, behind him, and before the astonished emperor could move or utter a word. Utter a word means speak a word. The painting had vanished from the wall. Now this is really unusual. This is really odd, that thing that has happened. What actually happened? The painter entered into the cave that was there painted on the wall, on the scenery. So in the scenery there was a cave, and the painter clapped with his hands, and the door, the main entrance of the cave opened, and the painter entered the cave, but the entrance closed behind him. And before the astonished emperor, means what is the meaning of astonished? Astonished means surprised and shocked emperor. He could move or utter a word, means he could, before anything could happen or done by the emperor, and he could not speak even a single word, he could not utter a word, he could not speak anything. The painter had vanished into the wall, means he had gone into the cave, and then that scenery disappeared forever. Not a trace of Wodowsie's brush was left, and the artist was never seen again in this world. This is really a different kind of story where Wodowsie's brush was left out and he went away, he got disappeared, he was never to be seen by anybody in the world afterwards. Next paragraph. Such stories played an important part in China's classical education. So, China and Chinese education, they actually tells a lot of tell a lot of story about their, you can say, these kind of stories which are really unusual and unique. The books of Confucius and Zhuangzi are full of them. These two people, they have written so many stories in which these kind of unusual things are described. They help the master to guide his disciple in the right direction. What is the meaning of disciple? Disciple means follower. So these people and their books, they helped the master. Master means the guide, or maybe the person who would be followed. So the master to guide his disciple in the right direction. Beyond the anecdote, what is the meaning of anecdote? Anecdote is actually a short story related to some particular thing. So beyond these kind of stories, they are deeply revealing the spirit of revealing of the spirit in which art was considered. Means what is the meaning? Beyond the anecdote means if we are going to see just beyond, just far away from these short stories, they are deeply revealing of the spirit in which art was considered. Means they actually, these stories actually are described and told. Why? Because these people, the Chinese people, they want us to, you can say, consider their art in a correct, in a right way. Contrast this story or another famous one about a painter who would not draw the eye of a dragon he had painted. Another story was there in China's, you can say, in China. And what is this story? This is actually a story about a famous painter who would not draw the eye of a dragon he had painted. Means he had painted a dragon, but he was afraid of drawing, means he was not drawing the eye, he was not painting the eye. Why? Because he was afraid that his painting was so real that he was afraid that maybe the dragon would attack him if he would have the eyes. For fear it would fly, because he was in fear that it could fly if the eyes would be painted. With an old story from my native Flanders that I find most representative of Western painting, and this is actually Western painting. The last paragraph was about Chinese paintings, Chinese art, and this is in contrast to the first story that a painter was not ready, was fearful of making or drawing the eye of the dragon. Why? Because he was afraid that he could be attacked by the dragon and dragon would come out of the painting. So because, and this actually is representative of Western painting. In the 15th century, Antwerp, a master blacksmith called Quentin Matsys fell in love with a painter's daughter. Now, this is again another story about a blacksmith. Blacksmith hota hai lohar. So, about a blacksmith, and the name of that blacksmith was Quentin Matsys, and he fell in love with a painter's daughter. The father would not accept a son-in-law in such a profession. Means the father of the daughter of that girl, he was not ready to accept a son-in-law who would not be a painter or who would be a blacksmith. So Quentin sneaked into the painter's studio and painted a fly on his latest panel with such delicate realism that the master tried to swat it away before he realized what had happened. Now, this is again very, you can say, it is really unusual thing that happened, really wonderful, that a person who was a blacksmith, he entered into the a painter's studio and he painted a fly. Fly means a mosquito on his latest panel. Means there was a scenery, that there was a landscape that was being painted by the painter, the famous painter, but he was not there. And in his absence, this person who was a blacksmith and who was in love with the painter's daughter, he went into the painter's studio and he painted a fly, and he painted it with such delicate realism. Delicate realism here means exquisitive thing as they are, means he painted it so beautifully, so realistically, that the master tried to swat it away. Swat here means he tried to kill it, because when the master here means the painter's, you can say the painter, the daughter's father, when he came back and he noticed that there was a fly on the painting, he tried to swat, he tried to hit it away before he realized what had happened, because he did not realize before it that it was actually painted, it was made by somebody, it was created, it was not a real fly, because it looked so real. Quentin was immediately admitted as an apprentice into his studio, and this man, that Quentin, that blacksmith, he was admitted by as an apprentice. Apprentice means as an helper. As a helper, he was admitted by the painter into his studio. He married, and then he was given a chance. He was married with his beloved, means the painter allowed to marry Quentin with his daughter, and went on to become one of the most famous painters of his age. These two stories illustrate what each form of art is trying to achieve. Now, this is very, very, very important, because here we have come to know that these two stories actually illustrate, means these stories give an example, these stories prove that what each form of art here means the Chinese art and the European art, means the Eastern art and the Western art, they they are trying to achieve, what they are trying to achieve, a perfect illusionistic likeness in Europe, the essence of inner life and spirit in Asia. Means in Asia, the main purpose behind making these paintings is the essence of inner life, because they want us to see, they want us to feel the inner spirit and inner life. And in in Europe, they actually want us to see the illusionistic likeness. Means they want to make the things so, you can say, real, that we should get confused whether it is a painting or it is actually something real. In the Chinese art, the European commissions a painting and appreciates its outer appearance. Means in Chinese story, the emperor who had commissioned, who had asked or appointed a painting and appreciates its outer appearance, but the artist reveals to him the true meaning of his work. Now this is really different, that in the first story where the painter Wu Daozi had made a painting for Tang Emperor Zhongzong, and because he wanted to put it on the palace wall, and there was a beautiful landscape, and at last the painter clapped his hands and the gate of the cave opened and he entered into it. Why he entered? Because he actually wanted that the onlooker here means the spectator, he should be able to appreciate the true meaning of his work. The emperor may rule over the territory he has conquered, but only the artist knows the way within. Means maybe the people like emperor and the kings, they would have the authority, but they should also have the eyes of an artist. Let me show the way. The Tao, a word that means both the path or the method and the mysterious works of the universe, means Wu Daozi has explained to the emperor, to the king, let me show the way. It means that these people, these artists, they have that unique perception. Their point of view is different. They have that the eyes to see the things within. And Dao, a word that means both the path or the method and the mysterious works of the universe. The painting is gone, but the artist has reached his goal beyond any material appearance. Means the painting was gone, the painting actually disappeared with the painter, but what he wanted to tell us, that the artist, his perfect goal was to show the people the essence of life, the reality, the inner beauty, the inner reality beyond any material appearances. A classical Chinese landscape is not meant to reproduce an actual view as would a Western figurative painting. Again, very important. This is the difference between the Chinese art and the European art. What is the difference? That the classical Chinese paintings, they actually show us what they have. The Chinese painting is not meant to reproduce an actual view. Means they don't want to make something, you can say, they don't want to copy something, and they don't want to compare these things as would a Western figurative painting. But in Western world, the people, they want to make a painting, they want to do something that should look very real. Whereas the European painter wants you to borrow his eyes and look at a particular landscape exactly as he saw it. This is the beauty of the European painter, that he wants us to borrow his eyes and look at a particular landscape exactly as he saw it from a specific angle. Means he wants us to see all those things with the eyes of the painter. And the Chinese painter does not choose a single viewpoint. His landscape is not a real one, and you can enter it from any point. Means Chinese art is opened from different multi, you can say, multi entrances are there in a Chinese painting, and the onlooker, the people who wants to see these paintings, who want to enjoy these, they can enter into the painting from different ways. Then travel net. The Chinese creates a path for your eyes to travel up and down, then back again in a leisurely movement. This is even more true in the case of the horizontal scroll, in which the action of slowly opening one section of the painting, then rolling it up to move to the another, means it is actually a kind of roll which you can open, and the other things would get closed, and some of the things, new things, would get opened. It is actually a kind of roll. Adds a dimension of time which is unknown in any other form of painting. It also requires the active participation of the viewer. Now this is very important, that these paintings, they require the active participation of the viewer, who decides at what place he will travel through the painting. A particular, a participation which is physical as well as mental. The Chinese painter does not want you to borrow his eyes, he wants you to enter his mind. The landscape is an inner one, a spiritual and conceptual one. Whereas the Chinese painter, means the Eastern art, they don't want you to borrow his eyes, he wants you to enter his mind. They actually want to see the inner beauty or the landscape, and the landscape is an inner one, a spiritual one, and a conceptual space. Conceptual space means he wants you to see the inner beauty, the basic concept that is, you can say, put behind making the painting. I hope you would have got some idea about this chapter. This is actually about, you can say, the comparative study of European and Chinese painting. It touches upon various subtleties of reality and art. And this is actually some of the short stories and anecdotes are related with the Chinese art and the European art and European painting, how they are different, how they are contrasted. Tomorrow we are going to continue with the same chapter. Thank you very much.